As you can see, we continue to have a strong dedicated leadership team of engineers and developers to support and enhance OpenBridge. Our main goal is to help you succeed in your project delivery and improve your efficiency. We plan to do that by listening and responding to your needs in a timely manner with 3 updates in 2017, as Sri mentioned. We have the first release in next week or a week after, in a couple of weeks basically. The second release it's gonna be in September, and the last one we will have a release in December. Additionally, we want to make OpenBridge easier to use for new users by improving graphical user interface and workflow. Today, we will focus on what is new in OpenBridge Connect Edition Update 3, which we release, as I said, in few weeks. Basically, in each release, we are focusing on 2 items. We want to have the engineering analytical enhancement as well as user experience enhancement. For the analytical enhancement, for this release, we will have the stress leading superposition. We add a new element by linear static for time history analysis, and also we have added a new RM set for time history analysis, which I explained what are in the detail. I go in detail for each item. Also for user experience enhancement, we have a new TCL editor inside OpenBridge. We have a customized report generation inside OpenView, and also we have some user interface and enhancement inside OpenBridge. For the first item, stress leading superposition, as you know, when we design and analyze a bridge, we are interested to see the maximum of the moment, basically shear, forces in general, displacement, and as well we want to see find the maximum of the stresses under the different envelopes. In the upcoming release, we added this feature that user can see and find the maximum of the stresses under the different envelopes. For example, in this picture here, you can select from the envelopes the envelope that you want to see the result of the stresses. For in this case, beam stresses for the normal stresses and shear stresses. And for the leading component, we added this new option here. For the normal stress and shear stress, you can select at different points that you need to decide which points you want to store the result. You can select and then see the results from there. Now, for how you can store these leading stresses, leading points in the results and in database, basically you can do that inside the modeler. When you go to the modeler and define the stress points, we have this option now. You click on the stress result for the points, and you can select either the normal, you want to have the normal stresses or shear stress. In case if you want to do modify that inside Analyzer, you have this option. You can go to the Analyzer as well, and then we have an option for the store stress leading results. You can go there and select which points and which result you want to store. When you want to see the result under the result option, basically, which you can see it in the left hand side under envelopes, you can select the envelope that you want to see the result. Then for the stresses that you want to see, when you expand use this drop down, we had this minimum and maximum of the force and displacement, and now we have for the stresses. You can select which stress you want to see and select the stress point, and you can have your diagram, print your result, and see the result there. In this picture here, you see an example for this simply supported beam. For the result of the envelope, for example, this envelope, I use the maximum. I was interested to see the maximum of the stresses, which you can see it for the normal stress here with the contours on the beam. We added new hysteretic elements. As you may know, they are using these elements, and this behavior is used in the earthquake engineering. And because of hysteretic look that they have, they dissipated energy. You can find this new element under damper and isolator, the last item element here. You can find them here by linear hysteretic. And when you select this element in the desired location, when you assign it there, you can define the property. We have the property for the in x and the yz direction, as well as rotation, that you can see it here, and for the stiffness. And when you click on the stiffness, you can define the property for that stiffness. For example, here, how do you define the property? You can define the linear stiffness, and as well non-linear stiffness, which you can see it in this picture. Yield forces in the compression and tension area, you can define it here. You can define the strain hardening ratio. You can put the value here, as you can see this, which defined as alpha, and also hysteretic rule that you want to assign to your element. Another enhancement that we had, it's a new RM set for time history analysis. As you know, RM set is used to specify content and format for your report. You can either use the predefined RM set, or user can define his or her RM set. In the previous version of RM, we had time integration, tint action basically. Shri, I think you need to mute your microphone, please. We had this, as I said, we had this time integration. There was some limit for that. Our user couldn't export the result in the XLS format, and there was no time plot for that. So we extend, and we have this new RM set, which we call it RHIST, RM set for time history. This is the last item under RM set, and it has this capability. Basically, you can export your result in the XLS format. You can have multiple plots, including the time plots versus displacement, reaction or displacement, as you can see it here, for the element or node. And also for your plot format for diff, because as I said, you can add different plots together. You have an option to control the color of your plot, the thickness of the line, and then how many steps do you want to define it, and etc. So it gives you a good ability to differentiate between the different plots. Here, for example, in this example, this steel column with base isolator with this new element that we add, we define it here and analyze it with the bilinear hysteretic element. You can see it in the bottom of the column here. And when you plot, you can see the plot like this. In this case, let me open the OpenBridge here for this model. As I said, let me show you as a short demo. As I said, we have this new RM set, time history for time history. RM set for time history, and as I mentioned here, you can add different curves in your model, and you can select either time or plot your time. In the x-axis and y-axis, you have an option for time, or for your element and node, you can select which direction you want to see the print the results for x and y, and as well for the diagram information, you have this option here that you can select which step do you want to have it, what is the color of your plot and the thickness, and you can export it as an XLS format. This is for plot 1 is with the red, for example, and plot curve number 2 with the blue. I have defined it here. And when you run the model, as I said, I have used the bilinear hysteretic element. When you run the model, you can see the bilinear hysteretic behavior in the element that in this graph you can see it now. So here I define two different curves and you can see it with different colors. How is the behavior and how is the plot look like? All right. The next enhancement that we have added new TCL editor inside OpenBridge. This capability you can get with this new TCL editor. You can open it through OpenBridge basically. You have a navigation tree. When you open a TCL file, you have this navigation tree that you can simply go and find the location. If you want to do any modification, you can simply go through any line if you have a big script of TCL. It has all TCL and RM commands incorporated with it. And as I said, it opens inside OpenBridge. How you can define it and use it, you simply go to under the setting inside OpenBridge and you can use TCL editor, this new TCL editor. I should mention that PSPad is our primary editor, but we have this new TCL editor and our user can go and use this new TCL editor for their TCL scripting and editing. Another enhancement that we have is about report generation inside OpenBridge view. In this new report generation, we give option for the cover page. For example, you can define their company logo, header, footer, timestamp, and a picture that they want to see in the cover page. And they can select the data, input data, what type of data they want to add. They have an option to select the cross section, nodes, beams, cables, etc. And for the result, they can select the customized result. Shortly, I show that how they can select a different component. Simply by selecting different component and add it to the list, they can generate the list of the result that they want to see. And at the end, we have an output format that you can export this report into the Word, Excel, and also we have an option for the 3D PDF. And when you go and change anything in the model inside OpenBridge, when you come back to the OpenBridge view, by one click, everything get updated inside your report and as well as the result inside OpenBridge view. This is the sample of how it looked like. Basically, this is the cover page, and then you have a table of contents, and then the tables and the result, everything is in there. So let me show you quickly one model inside OpenBridge view and show you as a demo that how you can basically select the result and use it in the generate the report. For example, here when you go on the left hand side inside OpenBridge view, when you right click on the report, you have this create customized report. When you create this customized report, as I mentioned, you have an option for the cover page. You can select the picture of the bridge, your company logo, and etc. And input data you can select. By default, all of them is on, but you can select which one you want to have or which one you don't want to see in your report. When you go to the result under the customize, when you click on this customize report, you get this dialog box. You can select what type of result you want to see, 2D diagrams, 2D diagram plots table, or 3D diagram with the colored face or deflected structure. That's the component of your result. For example, here, and then which component do you want to add. You have this drop down, load cases or superposition file. When you click, when you expand, you can see the those load cases that you have inside your, when you imported inside OpenBridge, you can select them here. For example, these load cases and load sets and superposition. Then it asks you which component do you want to see. Do you want to see the displacement? You have an option that you can add the displacement, for example, in vertical, and then forces, for example, MZ and shear forces. You can select it here. And you have an option that you can select the assembly. If you have defined an assembly, for example, you can select the main girder. And then by adding this, all this basically result will be added to your report. And you can come back and select different, if you want to add them 2D diagram and tables and 3D, you can simply go select any item that you want. For example, here I want to add this option only. And then I select which component do I want to see. By adding that, it's automatically everything added to this result list by clicking OK. And when you click on the generate report, it basically automatically creates your report. And let me open this report that I have here, that I created the cover page and etc. You can see that you have the table of contents and all the pages that you have generated. Basically, this is for the cross section and everything is here. It shows here. And I should mention that when you generate your report and you see it here as a preview, then you have an option that you can save your report as an PDF or either the Word document. Yet both of them is available here. For example, here if you want to see the export it to the PDF, let's look at the PDF report that we get for this bridge that we define. Let me bring the PDF is generated in this site. I need to bring it here. And you can see the table of contents by clicking on any of this. It goes through the page that you want to see. And it has all the results and those components that you selected. Everything is showing here basically. As I said, I already have exported to the Word format too, so you can see it in the Word format and edit your report as well. And another option that we have is when you print in the PDF format, you have this option to print to 3D PDF. And this 3D PDF gives you an option that when you print to the 3D PDF, you have this option that you can rotate your bridge, zoom in, zoom out, and see all the component of your bridge basically. And you can share this 3D PDF with your colleagues. And because it doesn't have any, the size is very small, and simply by sharing it, you can share your bridge information with other colleague in your that's working with you. That's another feature that we have inside report generation in OpenView basically, and inside OpenView. Next item, we have some enhancement, GUI enhancement inside OpenBridge that I will show a short demo about them, but the main one basically we added this new option. When you go to the results option, you have this support reaction. By selecting this support reaction, you can see the support under different load case and envelopes. Also, you have an option to select which view option and which stage you want to see. If you want to draw all or draw active structure, you can control it under in the result option now. We have added new icons inside OpenBridge, which I shortly show them in a demo. We have the view options. We have some model options for the models, and also we have an shortcut icons for the result, and we added new icon for the quantity. Let me, actually I can show you here with this model that I had. As I mentioned, we have this new icons for the view option. You can move your model by this pan. We have the you can have an option which view you want to see the result. You can use this. For the text size, we have this option that you can increase the text, decrease the text. This option was already there, but we have added here, so simply user can select them. And then we have the rotation option here, that you can rotate the bridge, zoom in, zoom out, and then basically fit in. This option for showing the global and local direction. And if you want to find any elements, nodes, you have it here. If you want to select an element and see the property, you have it here. If you want to see the draw the cross section, if you want to see the full body of your bridge, you can select it from this option here. Also, another main option that was requested was this viewing the loads. As you may know, in the previous release, user could see the loads inside the load case and load safes under the structure and defining the loads. Now we have added this option that user can select the loads option, and when you click on the option, it gives you which load set and which load case do you want to see. For example, let's see if you want to see this stage 1 and stage 2 for the self-weight. When you click OK, then you can see them under, let me show on the bridge here, that you can see them here, that how they are showing here on the bridge. Let's see one more type of the load. For example, if I want to select the superimposed deadload, click OK, then I can see the superimposed deadload on the main window. This is the new option that we have added. And as I said, you can, when you click on this result option, this icon here is for the result option. It's automatically open the result option for you. And as I mentioned, we have this new option for the support reaction view option that you have. You can select active structure or all the element when you select on the envelope. And then, for example, here we have this new option for selecting the for the stress leading, as I mentioned earlier. You have it here. Also for the quantities, when you click on this quantity report, it's automatically generate the list file for you, which shows for each elements that you have in your bridge. It gives you a summary of the weight, length, and the volume of the different component that you have in your bridge. And it's for this bridge, you have a breakdown for each element. And as I said, for the main gear, their pier, etc. You can find it and use it in this icon here under the quantity. Also, these new icons that I mentioned, you can see them in different places. For example, in a stage simulation, you have it here. These new icons have been added there. If you want to draw an assembly, use it in different places, you have it there. For example, if you want to define the tendon, in tendon definition, when you want to define the tendons, you have these new icons here, which basically is easy to use and use them in your when you define and model your bridge. Another option that we have, another icon that we have added to the new upcoming release, is this option here for the training examples and the demo examples, which in the previous was under the file. You can find them here under this new icon. And the new item that we have here are all the new videos that we are creating and adding. It's gonna show up here simply by clicking off any of these videos, these online resources. It's automatically take you to the YouTube channel that we have for the bridge product in Bentley, which was in this slide I wanted to mention. As I said, you can subscribe for the Bentley bridge analysis, and When you go and in the YouTube, you can simply select, basically type Bentley bridge analysis, and when you select that, you have an option to see all the videos that we have added. And as I mentioned, with that new icon, all the new videos for the related to OpenBridge is directly is accessible through that new icon. That was a quick overview of what is the new features that we have, the new release of OpenBridge, which will be available in a couple of weeks, in the March, next week or a week after. Now this is the end of my presentation. I'm opening for the question. Please let us know if you have any question. Sri, back to you. Sri?
Yeah, hi, Afshin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
If you can stop presenting, I would like to conduct a poll before we get into where is that poll? All right. Is that poll? Hey guys, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat window and we'll answer them as many as we can. While we are doing that, I would like to conduct a short poll. The poll is on the screen. So please respond. Just give you a couple of minutes to respond to your poll and then we'll get into the question and answer session. All right, I guess thank you for responding to our quick poll. Let us now open it up for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please type them in the chat window. So Afshin, one question is, when will this new release be available? Do you have a date?
Yeah, we have a plan to release, our release plan is April 22nd. So around end of next week, or last week of April, it's gonna be available for our users.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there's another question about CEU certificate. How do we get our CEU certificate? Basically, Chad, you can go through your personal portal with your Bentley login, and you can view all of your certificates and seminars you've been attending. All of that will be available in your personal portal. If there are several people attending from your company, this particular webinar, only one of them is registered. All others can still get their PDHs. In a day or two, you'll receive an email asking for your feedback, regarding this SIG meeting. In there'll be an option to indicate any additional members that watch this webinar with you. Once we get that information from you, the PVHs will be added to all those respective users' personal portal. There's a question here from AJ Matthews. I primarily use leap steel and leap concrete for various bridge design tasks. What can OpenBridge do for me that the other programs cannot? AJ, the main difference between these two groups of bridge products, LEAP and RM, is LEAP is for every bridges, steel eye-girder bridges, and very soon it will support steel tub-girder bridges. And LEAP concrete is for cast-in-place post-tension reinforced concrete or pre-stressed concrete girder bridges. OpenBridge is for advanced analysis and complex bridges. Bridges such as segmental bridges, cable-stayed bridges, suspension bridges, arches, and for highly complex structures, very tightly curved, highly skewed, where you need to use either grillage or finite element analysis. If you want to perform time history analysis, seismic analysis, response spectrum or time history, any advanced wind analysis, analysis that involves cables, for which we need to use large deflection theory. All of those are rolling stock analysis, basically designing bridges subject to high-speed trains. All of those advanced type of analysis can be performed using OpenBridge. Lost connection more than once. Sammy, sorry to hear that. I do not know why that happened with you, but we have recorded this session and it will be available in our loan server. So perhaps you can watch it some other time when you have a few minutes. Question option for you. When is stress leading superposition important? So perhaps let me try to address. Okay, go ahead, Afshin, if you can answer that.
But if you wanna.
Okay, so basically, stress leading superposition is important whenever you are dealing with staged construction and the structural configuration, the supports and the member activation is changing from time to time, and you want to track the accumulation of stresses and then find out under which load combinations is a certain point is getting highly stressed, more stressed. That's when stress leading superposition option is important. Okay, that's all I see in terms of questions. If you have additional questions, please type them in the chat window. And if you can't think of any, but do come up with additional questions later on, please do not hesitate to contact Afshin. His email address is shown on the screen. We are very pleased to hear from you, whether you have any questions or suggestions for improving the product. Since there are no additional questions, I think we can close the meeting. So thank you all for attending.
If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. If you want to see more such series, consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you, and see you next time.